Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Pierce.
Where you come from?
I'm from America.
I come from Vietnam.
You're from here?
Yes.
Nice. Good morning, everybody, from cloudy Saigon, Vietnam. It's quarantine day 15, and I think we're all starting to get a little stir crazy. The government here just extended the quarantine to another 15 days to the end of April, and I assume it'll probably head until May. So, whew, almost tripped. So on that note, I wanted to do something different today. I wanted to get out of the house, walk around a little bit, but I wanted to share with you kind of my thoughts about a lot of, questions that I've had from a lot of friends and from a lot of family, which is, what is it like to live as an expat? How do you do it? How does it function? What does it feel like? And why is it so enticing? Why don't you want to move back to the US? Why are you still out there adventuring around the world when you should just, get a job in the US, settle down, buy some stuff, have some kids? So today I'd like to get into a little bit of my expat life, what it means to me, what I've learned, and maybe, hopefully, I can share with you some tricks, or at least some thoughts to maybe inspire you to take that trip you've always wanted to take, or try that hobby you've always wanted to do. Because right now we see when it's such a challenging time now, especially with the virus, that a lot of us are rethinking and refocusing, and so why not rethink and refocus and try the things that you've always wanted to, because the time is now, and let's do it. So here's my expat life. First of all, sorry if the audio is a little shaky, but I'm wearing a mask and it's much tighter today, and it's kind of hard to breathe and walk and talk, considering it's also 95 degrees outside. So anecdotally, I'll start with my story. In 2016, I graduated from university, and I had that feeling already that I wanted to try something new, that I really wanted to try and get out of my comfort zone, that I really wanted to try and push the envelope and travel abroad. I've always been obsessed with the world, obsessed with new cultures, new languages, and so it wasn't really much of a stretch for me to just say, I'm just gonna book a one-way ticket and I'm gonna just send it. Since 2016, I've ended up living in France, in Belgium, in Italy, and then now I've been here in Vietnam for just about 8 months. And I can say, I went into someone's backyard. Xin chào. What I can say is that being an expat has been one of the most humbling and enriching moments of my life at this point, especially since I've been doing it almost the majority of my early adulthood. The first thing I'd like to talk about being an expat is embracing the idea of leaving your comfort zone. It's really hard to do, but the best part about saying goodbye to the US or goodbye to the country where you're from, at least even for a little bit, is to expose yourself to new things, new ideas, new cultures, new languages, and to just get a different perspective than that of which you always have at home. I think it's really, really humbling to reevaluate things that come so easy to you, that just become part of the motions, as it were, back in your home country. Like whether it's going to the store and not being able to read what the products are, or not know what to buy, or whether it's trying to buy something and not being able to speak with the salesperson, and having to go back to your basic skills of, can I buy this with hand signals? Can I buy this in a way that I can get a good price and I'm not going to get ripped off? So it creates this kind of idea that all the things that we do in life are based in our own comfort. And when you expose yourself to this totally new thought process, this totally new system of, the things people do, the ways people do them here, it's really incredibly refreshing. And it really inspires you and makes you want to learn more and be a better person, and really push yourself to the limits of what you can do in your life. Getting out of your comfort zone also opens you up to accepting different people and different ways of life. So whether it's the Italians and their loudness and the way that they interact and the smiles and the sometimes too many cigarettes, or it's the Vietnamese and their ability to sit in the street and drink beer and celebrate with family and friends, and also play karaoke until 10 p.m. at night and in a terrible, terrible tone. All of these things help build you as a person and make you tolerant and open and loving and respecting of different cultures, different peoples, and different languages. I think when you are abroad, you should involve yourself in other cultures and other languages. It's really important to get some idea of how these people live and to be able to connect with them even a little bit. I've been living in Vietnam, and I don't speak very much Vietnamese, but honestly, what I can say is that just saying hello in Vietnamese or saying thank you in Vietnamese shows that you're going the extra, you're going the extra few steps to just make a connection with these people, and they really do appreciate it in the long run. Really taking you back to the simple things in life. A smile, a handshake, a friendly laugh, and being able to make mistakes. Being able to look ridiculous and being able to accept yourself as a foreigner or someone who's lost or someone that needs help. And these are parts of an expat life that completely shake up that routine, as I was saying, and that make life, everyday life, so much more interesting than it is when I'm just at home kind of going through the motions. The last thing I'll say about the comfort zone is I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to do things that you like to do, whether it's to eat the same food every day or to go to the gym every morning or just to have that routine that makes you feel comfortable. I think humans function on habit, and habits are what we normally do, and I think it's completely fine. I have habits too. I just think when you sometimes push yourself outside of those habits, you embrace the mysteries of life that are the things that surprise you and the things that make the greatest memories. So for me, just on an everyday basis, I try to push myself out of my comfort zone, whether it's trying weird food. I already, of course, eat weird food. It's like a thing I enjoy, but there's some things that, I might be a little tentative about, and it's really, you don't have to be a yes man. You don't have to say yes to everything just to say yes to it, but I think to a certain extent, just be open to try something new. The fact is that we don't like everything in life. It's totally fair. But that being said, it's amazing to try new things because, like, what if you do like it? And that's the most rewarding part for me is I don't know if I like Buddhism, but maybe I'll meditate for 20 minutes in a Buddhist temple and see what that experience is for me. Or maybe I'll try octopus butt. That might be awesome too. It could totally be disgusting, but it could also be awesome. So, just be open to many different things. One thing I love about being an expat is that you come in contact with people from so many different cultures. So Vietnam is a great example. There's a huge expat community here, which means there's foreigners from all over the world, from English speaking, from French speaking, from Germanic speaking, from Europe, from South America, anywhere you want. And there's also the local Vietnamese. So you get a little bit of the best of both worlds. If you want to go to a French cafe and drink coffee with French people, you can. If you want to have a really local Vietnamese street food lunch and hear 0 people speaking any language that you know any words in, you can do that too. If you want to go eat steak and watch American football in the expat area, you can definitely do that too. So an interesting part about being an expat is finding things that keep you grounded, that remind you who you are and where you came from, and things that you want to continue as part of your life. One fun and unique thing that I can say about being an expat is you can really, once you leave not just your comfort zone, but the zone and where you're from, you can become an anonymous person, and you can kind of reset the clock on who you've been in your lifetime. If you're not happy with who you are, if you're someone who's down a lot, or someone who has anxiety or depression or blah, 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 could be anything. Or maybe you don't like your career, or you don't like being around your family, or whatever it is. You can just take your time abroad to kind of like reset the wheels, retell yourself the narrative of who you are, and to really try and just live as the person that you want. The people that you meet abroad, or the life that you start abroad, is completely complicit on what you want to give them. So even if I'll tell you a funny anecdote. When I left the United States, I was always interested in trying out the name Pierce, my middle name. And when I went abroad, no one knew me. So I figured, hey, this is a good time to just try it out. And that's what I did. And so now anybody who's met me after 2016 calls me Pierce. It's so hot, my camera is actually overheating. So some people asked especially about the negatives of expat life, and it's really the things that they consider if they can do it or not. The first thing that always comes up is family. How do you stay in touch with your family if you're never home? So that being said, it is all about how you choose to spend your time. I have developed a really good relationship with my family, virtual as it is. But every week, I'm talking to my family every week. I'm on WhatsApp, I'm on Skype, and we're chatting, sending photos, sending pictures, we're being connected. There's many really good ways to do this. It just takes a little bit of effort, and it takes a little bit of an agreement on both sides on how people want to be connected. So if your mom wants to be in touch with you, and you want to be in touch with your mom, there's got to be a negotiation that happens where both of you are getting what you want out of the relationship. So that goes the same for friends. Obviously, I think it's very complicated if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a long distance relationship, having done that in the past. But that being said, relationships are something you can maintain just like anything else. So remember that being abroad, you're not by yourself, you're just as alone as you make yourself. Beyond the relationships, I think probably the first hardest thing about becoming an expat, or about taking that trip you've always wanted to take for a long period of time, is just going. And it's the initial shock and culture shock of going someplace you've never been and experiencing things you've never experienced before. It's not easy. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have some sad days. You're gonna have some homesick days. You're gonna have some days you just wished you were back home where you wanted to be. But wait it out. Give it a few days, because things always get better. And you have to center yourself and bring yourself back to the, I wanted to do this in the first place. So you have to go back to that person. Why did I want to do this? Why did I want to push myself out of my comfort zone? Why did I want to experience something new? That being said, it's totally okay to feel those feelings, but just remember that, you know, with time, we get perspective, and with perspective, we can make better and more informed decisions. So if you're worried about being lonely, if you're worried about, will I like it? I don't know, you might not like it, and that's totally fine too. But if you bail early, you'll never be able to kind of like live with the fact that says like, I tried my best, I tried something new, and in that particular instance, I really didn't enjoy myself. And I've had those experiences in places. I think it's quite normal. Certainly happier that I tried it in the first place. I would feel more disappointed in myself had I not tried it than having tried it in the first place. The last question people ask me, typically because I'm a freelancer, is how do I make my money? How do I be financially secure while I'm being an expat, especially if I don't speak the language in the country I'm in? You gotta pick your spots. If you work online, be an expat in some place that's cheap, so you don't have to have so much pressure to make a lot of money. Obviously everybody wants to be in Paris living in a small apartment, but in many ways it's not the most affordable option if you want to just start out, or you're starting out as a young person. Asia, South America, parts of Africa are amazing places to start living your expat life. They're wildly different culturally. They're wildly different, like, societally, and they're just they're cheap. So maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but it's a good place to give it a shot. So it's also good to give yourself the goal of how long will I go, how much money can I afford. And then there's also tricks if things don't work your way. There's couch surfing, where you can stay at people's homes for free. There's different sorts of freelance sites like Upwork or Fiverr, where you can trade your skills online for cash. And what I do is I'm a English and German tutor online. Very successful one, maybe too successful at this point, where basically without any qualifications other than the fact that I love languages and love sharing my love for languages with other people, I'm able to make a full living paying for my apartment, paying for my food, paying for everything, with a lot of money to spare, in a very comfortable and easy way online. Tomorrow I could wake up, I say I don't want to be in Vietnam anymore. I could fly to, hopefully when the COVID virus is done, I could fly to Malaysia, get an Airbnb for a month, and do the same thing there. So it's a beautiful thing to kind of have that flexibility, be able to work when you want, to have the feeling that the world is at your fingertips, to travel when you want, to go to places when you want. And it all starts with that feeling of leaving the comfort zone, trying new things, seeing if they work, testing it, validating it. We learned this in business school. And if it doesn't work, try something else. Xin chào. I will end the video on this note, as it's getting hot and I think it will rain. Have you ever thought about being an expat? Have you ever wanted to take a trip, wanted to go abroad, but have been too nervous or not sure about how to do it or where to start, or worried about money and not sure you can afford it? If so, leave a comment down below, and I would love to open a forum for those who are interested in living a lifestyle similar to the one I'm living. I'd love to hear your ideas and thoughts about what we've discussed today, whether it's getting out of the comfort zone, being exposed to new things, or even the hardships that I talked about as well. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you like the content, make sure to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can get all the notifications. Hopefully, as coronavirus, I say it every time, hopefully it'll get better regarding coronavirus and we'll be able to go outside of Vietnam and make new videos. But for now, yeah, drop me a comment, drop me a like, and I'll hear from you. Cheers, guys.